Try to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2. 1. Mark.
Hello everyone, my name is Mark, aka Derringer. Today is Sunday, June 30th, and you are listening to episode 215 of the Instant Action Podcast, your weekly source for planet-side news and information. As always, I'm brought to you by great listeners like you via the Support the Show tab on instantactionpodcast.com. Speaking of that Support the Show tab, I gotta give a big thank you shout out this week to Chestbeak, who made a donation last week based off of the last guy Evan's donation. And the nice thing about Evan is I did find out what his in-game name is, so it's Spiffy1209. Actually, that's his Reddit name. He goes by VS Spiffy, NC Spiffy, and TR Spiffy, and his NSO character is NS Spiffy, believe it or not. But those are his in-game names. He plays on the Connery server. So again, thanks to Spiffy, and again, Chesapeake, thank you as well for the donation last week. I greatly appreciate it. It's funny too, because I saw Chesapeake in game not too long ago, and he and I were chatting, and he was all excited because he had gotten the Derringer pistol not too long ago. So, I said, congrats, and I said to him that I'm always happy when listeners get the Derringer pistol because they know exactly what it is that they just got and the history behind it and, why it's such a cool thing for them to earn in the game. And I especially love it when people like Chesapeake message me in game and say, hey, I got your pistol the other day, and whether they like it or not, that's moot. I'm just happy that folks are getting it and using it and stuff like that. So again, thanks again this week go out to Chestbeak. Other than that, I hope you guys have been playing a lot of PlanetSide 2. I'm going to go into it a little bit deeper, but we're in the midst of double XP right now in game all the time. And I've certainly been taking advantage of that as much as I possibly can. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. Unfortunately, I had birthday parties to deal with this weekend, so didn't get to play as much as I wanted to, but that's okay. But enough about me. What's in store for this week's show? Well, a lot of news out of Daybreak Games this week, with obviously the launch of the summer festivities in game. They also dropped a full PC game update on us, not yet for PS4, sorry. That game update also contains my new favorite weapon, the Thumper. Also, they dropped a PTS update to a little bit buff my new favorite weapon. And finally, haven't listed it fully yet, but have teased a new job for someone at Daybreak Games, which I'll talk about briefly in case you guys haven't heard of it. So strap in as we hot drop into another episode of the Instant Action Podcast. So first topic this week is about celebrating summer on Auraxis. The new summer event, like I said, is live right now. It went live on June 26th. That was last Wednesday, and it is actually running an entire month this year. I forget what it ran for last year, but regardless, it's running from June 26th all the way to August 31st, which is frigging awesome. And during that time, the soldier soakers are back, the water balloons are back, stuff like that, which I love the soldier soaker. I'm not going to lie, it's a really good pistol. Also, we've got a big 4X going on, and I think I probably just misspoke about the double XP going on because that's just this double XP members weekend. I forget that not everybody who listens to this podcast is a member, but if you are a member of PlanetSide 2 and Daybreak Games in general, members do get a double experience weekend at the end of every month. It's the full weekend, so that started Friday on the 28th and has been running through the 30th. So if you are a member or become a member to take advantage of something like that, you're also going to get one next month as well. Because don't forget, this is running all the way. You're going to get two of them. because we're going to get the next one July 26th through 28th. And if this is running all the way through August 31st, you're also going to get one on the 23rd through 25th. So during this summer event, you're going to get a bunch of double XP weekends going on. But I was about to talk about, there is a 4X or Quad X experience day coming. They announced that it's going to happen on July 4th only, and this is going to be quad experience for everyone. The cool thing about me is 4th of July, I get the day off from work. My wife heads into town and volunteers at her church the entire day. My daughter's 19. You guys know that. She goes off and does her own thing. I get 4th of July 100% to myself this year, just like last year. I'm going to take advantage of this quad XP as much as I possibly can. So if you've been saving up your Daybreak cash, that is going to be the day that you want to buy a one day plus 50% experience boost, because with quad, and if you're a member and a day experience boost, you're going to get a shit ton of experience on July 4th for playing PlanetSide 2. In addition, on July 4th only, they're going to bring the Freedom Thrusters back. Those are the light assault max rank skirmisher jump jets with the red, white, and blue contrails on them. They're also bringing back the Patriot camo. That's the faction-specific ones. They did say that Nanite Systems getting a Patriot camo is tentative right now. Clearly, they don't have one. I would love to get one on my NSO. I would definitely purchase something like that. And also, the Nomad Eye Light Assault Armor returns, and that's the NC Light Assault Armor with the Independence Day color scheme. Really cool red, white, and blue Light Assault Armor that I already have. In addition to all that stuff, we've got the Summer Directive. We've got the new heavy weapon that was released on the 26th, the Thumper, and I'll talk about, and also the new alert changes that I'm going to talk about in the game update next. So again, it is time to celebrate summer on Auraxis, and again, this is going for 2 months. Second up this week is that aforementioned PC game update. This again dropped on June 26th. This was last Wednesday, and it has been titled Fight in the Shade. Nice 300 reference. Obviously, we've got the summer event going on, and again, like I said, this is going all the way through August 31st, so you do have basically 2 months to complete the directives. Soldier Soaker is back, like I said before. That is the pistol, and everybody has access to that. You've got it in your inventory. You can just switch and equip it. Also, water balloons are back again. I believe you have to spend 1 cert. Maybe you have to spend a cert on the Soldier Soaker, too. I can't remember now. If it's only 1 cert, it's not that bad. I do know that one of my characters didn't have the water balloons, and I had to pay 1 cert to actually unlock it. So water balloons, obviously you throw those, they detonate in a big splash. If you're on fire, it will actually douse targets, which is kind of interesting. And obviously the Soldier Soaker and the water balloons are used in the Summer Directive. So of course you're saying, well, what's the Summer Directive? You have 6 things that we're going to be doing in the Summer Directive this year. The first one is called Beat the Heat, and it's to score kills with a summer holiday weapon. That's your Soldier Soaker and water balloon. Beachhead is to kill enemy vehicles while in a vehicle yourself. King of the Castle is to earn experience by capturing or defending a control point. Summer Support Ribbons, you earn those by resupplying or repairing friendly vehicles. It does say while in a vehicle yourself, but I do know that if you hop out as an engineer and repair your own vehicle, you do get these support ribbons. Next up is Crashing Waves, and this is to earn kills against max units during the Maximum Pressure event. Obviously, I talked about that last week. It's live now. We'll get to that in a second. And finally, Tour Guide, which is while piloting a vehicle, earn gunner kills on enemies defending an aerial anomaly. So what those last two say to me is that the Maximum Pressure and aerial anomaly events are going to be happening a lot during this entire summer event. So you can certainly expect to see those more often than not. I think it's just been bad luck for me. I did play a little bit on Saturday, and I only saw a aerial anomaly event go off. I haven't seen a maximum pressure one happen yet, and I'm curious to see how those are on live. But then, of course, everybody wants to know what are your rewards. The nice one, and this is just Tier 1, and Tier 1 is just completing any 2 of these, and the first round of them are super easy to complete. I mean, King of the Castle, you can basically do one just running around in a squad or a platoon of people. That one's so simple to do. And again, the summer support ribbons, just repairing vehicles, that one's wicked easy to do. Beat the Heat is really easy to do. But again, why am I talking about that? Because the first tier reward is 100 certs, but more importantly, a 1-day experience boost. So before I said you should save on, if you've been saving your Daybreak cash, July 4th is the day to buy that experience boost, but they're actually giving you a free one if you complete the first tier. And most people should be able to complete the first tier in, less than an hour's worth of gameplay. A regular night's play on their character should give you a 1-day experience boost. And then definitely hang on to that until 4th of July because you want to use that during the quad XP. Tier 2 is 100 ISO 4 and a basic implant pack. Tier 3 is the cloud cover weapon camo. And Tier 4 is the Indar shoreline banner and also the title of Surfer. Next up in this game update is the alert rotation changes. So, as I said before, maximum pressure has been added to the alert rotation. It is the new alert type requiring you to get as many kills as possible, and maxes are free during the duration of the event. As we heard before, this is happening a lot more often, because they remove the refine and refuel and the gaining ground alerts from the rotation so that we would kick off maximum pressure and the aerial anomaly alert much more often than they currently are. Next up is the new weapon that's getting a lot of attention from the community, and this is the NSO3 Thumper. Now, the Thumper's getting a lot of hate in game. Let me just throw that out there. A lot of people say it's shit. Lex, who I follow on Twitter, specifically came out and said it's one of the worst weapons he's ever played with. And I can see why some people dislike the Thumper. Personally, I really like the Thumper. And maybe it's just because I'm a shit tier player, and I know I'm a shitty player. And no one needs to come out and tell me that. I know I'm terrible, but I still enjoy playing the game. I've been playing the Thumper with the incendiary ammo and racking up so many assist ribbons with that thing towards the heavy assault directive that I'm loving playing with it. I do have some things that I don't like about it, but I'll cover that in a moment. So again, the Thumper is a 6-round weapon, backlit ammo display, side-mounted quote-unquote comfort control handle, comes with fragmentation rounds by default. They have a little explosion area that do some decent damage to targets. And you can also buy the disruptor ammo, which depletes energy, destroys small electronics, and inflicts damage to your shields. And the incendiary ammo, which sets targets aflame, which they say is quote-unquote perfect for an outdoor barbecue. I've been playing this thing 100% with the incendiary ammunition. We were at a nice fight at TI Alloys yesterday, and I jumped my way to the roof of TI Alloys, and I was just raining down incendiary ammo on top of unsuspecting TR players with reckless abandon and scoring tons of kills with it, scoring a whole ton of the new heavy assault ribbons with it, because as I said last week, they were talking about taking away the lasher, jackhammer, mini chain gun from whatever the directive is for that for heavy assault, and instead making it to getting assists with a heavy weapon. And the Thumper is now a heavy weapon. I was getting tons of assists with this thing, just lighting people on fire. Again, When I say tons of kills, I wasn't getting a ton of kills. I was getting a decent number of kills. But more than that, I was just lighting people on fire, and then other people were killing them while they were on fire, getting me those assist ribbons. It works. Maybe it's because I like playing with the Lasher. I mean, you guys know me. I'm kind of messed in the head. Lasher is my favorite weapon in the game. I know other people say that's a garbage tier weapon as well. I just like it. And the Thumper feels like that, the Lasher, to me. It obviously doesn't have the same ammo capacity as a Lasher, where it seems like you can just fire that thing for days. But the Thumper, I certainly like the way that it actually works in-game. Again, that's because I'm a shit tier player who's messed in the head. It's also worth noting that the Thumper has 3 rail attachments to it. The first one's called the automatic trigger, and in its current state, it gives the Thumper automatic fire capabilities and a 10% increased fire rate, but increases the weapon's minimum cone of fire by 25%. The launch accelerator increases projectile velocity by 25%, but drastically increases vertical recoil. And finally, the lightweight materials attachment. It removes the weapon's innate 10% movement speed penalty while increasing the weapon's angular recoil by 33%. Of those 3, I found that I spent my certs on the lightweight materials one because I didn't like the 10% movement speed penalty, and getting rid of it seemed to be the way to go for me. Anybody else out there who has been using the Thumper a ton wants to tell me I'm wrong, please do so. I'll be happy to try the other ones, but I didn't like the movement speed penalty personally. So yeah, there's the Thumper. It's kind of my new favorite jam in PlanetSide 2 right now, and I'm sure next time I run with B-Way, Shades will call me out for using it during an ops, but we'll certainly see. Maybe I can sneak some Thumper play in. Moving along, though, there were some infantry changes also in this game update. First up, the Dragoon got its refire rate changed from 325 milliseconds down to 300. And what this does, per the dev notes, is it increases the rate of fire by a small amount and makes it more distinct in comparisons to other weapons in the arsenal, as well as the other heavy battle rifles across factions. The new Conglomerate Charger, this is their carbine, had its number of charged shots per mag increased from 5 to 7. And the dev note on this one is that increasing the charged shot count allows people to secure a 6-round body shot kill against unmodified health pools, as well as some room for leniency with the 7th round. This certainly might make me use the Charger a little bit more than I did in the past. I felt like those 5 shots were too few, especially when you're not a good headshot player like I am. Next, the NC Max weapons also got another pass. They are saying that the last bump pushed them closer to where they wanted them to be, but they felt they still needed some additional nudging. So the scatter cannon had its magazine size increased further to 9, and its ammo capacity increased further to 81. The Matic had its magazine size up to 12, ammo capacity to 96, and had its pellet spread reduced to 1.5. The Hacksaw also had its magazine size increased to 9, its ammo capacity increased to 81, and its pellet spread reduced to 2.5. And finally, the Grinder also had its magazine size increased all the way up to 18, and its ammo capacity increased up to 126. As much as I like these additional things coming back to the max weapons, I do think we still need to see a damage pass on these as well. Not just giving them more ammo personally, but at least we're moving in a step in the right direction. Next, they're listed some high priority fixes. First is that players should no longer spawn invisible vehicles that make you run super fast. I hope that people I know who have been suffering from this are happy. Also, changing your loadout will no longer occasionally freeze your character. And also, the Infiltrator Cloak should now behave similarly to visibility at ultra and low settings and work in a similar fashion with all weapons and cosmetic types. Now, I know people are still complaining about the Infiltrator Cloak on live, so I don't know that this is still 100% fixed yet. Finally, for this game update, there were some other miscellaneous changes, fixes, and additions. I'm not going to go through all of them, just some of the bigger ones. All vehicles now have a horn integrated by default. You can now always spawn into an allied region adjacent to you. I know that was a big complaint by a lot of players. The critical chain implant can now only be used with sniper rifles. I know this was because critical chain implant was bugged and was basically you'd trigger the implant and then the buff from it would never go away. So if you are like me and had critical chain, you might want to move that out now. The NS Operatives Close Quarter Combat Master Directive tier now only requires 4 completions instead of 5. I know this was a big complaint. In a later update, they said they're going to be adding an NSO sniper rifle to aid with completion of the long rifle directive as well. And then again, there were some other smaller fixes that came into the game itself. But again, there's our game update altogether. And PS4, I'm sorry, this didn't make it to you yet. I haven't seen any news on when this is going to make it over to you, but obviously they did summer last year. They should be able to do it again this year. But that wraps up this week's game update. Let's move on to our third topic this week. Okay, third up this week, we also got a PTS update on the 28th, so on Friday. Starting off with the miscellaneous changes, fixes in addition to this. Vehicles owned by a player who log out should no longer explode. Stabilizing regions no longer show as cut off for a period of time and instead stabilize as expected. Players should no longer hear erroneous error sounds while in a vehicle. They've also got a speculative fix to prevent players from spawning directly into locked continents on login. NSO characters in Allied Sunder Cloak modules should now be hidden correctly. NSO characters now properly receive alert and event rewards. I'm glad to see that one in there because I'm still not receiving all my proper alert and event rewards, unfortunately. Next, reaching the cert reset prompt at BR15 no longer shows a corrupted image. I've seen a few people post that. They fixed an issue that was preventing the maximum pressure event from activating naturally. This explains why I have not seen a maximum pressure event kick off yet. Again, it's because I haven't had a ton of time to play either. They fixed the flashes, often traitorous first-person propaganda. I don't even know what that one means. I should look into that one. Not now. Next, NSO characters will receive proper directive credit for harasser Top Gun kills, and they're also adding a new bundle in the depot available during the summer event itself. Next, though, let's move on to my favorite, the Thumper. So the dev note on this is that they felt like the weapon was tuned very conservatively in the first update, which, in my opinion, that's the proper way to do it. Don't throw a super OP weapon into the game, make it very conservative, and then tune it up as people play with it. So as the nature of explosive can carry a lot of power in certain situations, that's the reason they made it tuned it conservatively. But after seeing it perform for a few days, they felt that they could expand its power and practicality with the following changes. So they're removing the leg shot damage reduction. They're also allowing it to be used as an ASP secondary weapon, and that's my biggest complaint with the Thumper right now. So I hope that that makes it to live as soon as possible. I think the Thumper as a primary weapon is not the best thing in the game, but having it as a secondary weapon will make a lot more people use it. I mean, again, I have that unlocked on my NC character, and I didn't realize that I couldn't use the Thumper in the secondary weapon slot, and I was upset that I had spent my ASP point on it. I just assumed that I would be able to, and I did that freaking day one, so I wish I had seen the people post that on Reddit saying it was not possible. So I will be happy when that comes to life. Next, the Thumper will shoot projectiles from the eyes like other weapons while aiming down sight. And they're also investigating an issue where it won't drop the movement speed penalty when reloading while aiming down sights. So again, a couple good things on that one. The ASP secondary one is my big complaint in game right now, so happy to see that they're going to be addressing that. Next, moving on to the Thumper's attachments. They're looking to further distinguish these from each other so that the playstyle differences are felt more. And to do that, they're going to start with the automatic trigger. Its rate of fire increase is going to go up to 20%. Its cone of fire penalty is also going to go up, though, to 40%. The launch accelerator is going to reduce the minimum cone of fire by 20%. And the lightweight materials is going to reduce the movement speed penalty for aiming down sights by 50%. So it's going to do both, just getting rid of that normal 10% increase and also decrease ADS by 50% as well. I'll probably still use lightweight materials. Next, they're going to make some changes to the ammos as well. Fragmentation is going to get an increase to its direct damage up to 250, indirect maximum damage up to 350, and indirect minimum up to 100. So obviously, the frags are going to do more damage. The disruptor ammo is also getting a direct damage increase to 250, indirect minimum to 100. Its energy depletion is going to increase from 10% to 20%, and its shield depletion is going to increase significantly up to 125 from 50. And finally, incendiary, my favorite. Its direct damage is also getting that same increase from 200 up to 250. Indirect maximum, is going up to 150. Indirect minimum is going up to 100. The burning damage per second, though, is being reduced from 100 to 50, which I don't know that I agree with that one, but whatever. They're also reducing the burning damage duration from 3.5 seconds down to 3 seconds. But to counteract those, they're going to make the burning effect stack. So obviously, to do the same amount of damage, you're going to have to hit it at least twice. Hit your target at least twice. I'll have to see how that plays out. I don't like the damage reduction, but obviously, if the incendiary ammo is doing too much damage, they do need to dial it back. So there is your entire PTS update. I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot of this stuff come to live next week as a quick hotfix. A lot of it is just tuning stuff that I don't think really needs a lot of testing, especially that maximum pressure one they want to get in ASAP. Thumper changes, I know they want to get in ASAP as well. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if this PTS update hits us pretty quickly next week. But with that, let's move on to our fourth and final topic this week. And that last topic is just a tweet this past week from Paul, is that Daybreak Games is looking for a senior engineer to join the PlanetSide team. He did say that it's not up on the site yet, but if anybody wants to shoot him a message, he'll make sure that your application or resume gets to the right person. So if you have had an inkling or a desire to work for Daybreak Games, and obviously you're in the San Diego area, this could be something for you to check out if you want to work for them. One thing to note, he did not say that it was the PlanetSide 2 team. So it makes me wonder if this is going to be a dual role with both PlanetSide Arena and PlanetSide 2, or if it is just going to be PlanetSide 2, or maybe it's just PlanetSide Arena and not PlanetSide 2. I'm not really sure. But either way, if you follow Paul on Twitter and are curious about a job like this and want to get your resume into them, hit him up and he'll pass that information along. But with that, let's move on to housekeeping this week.
Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Housekeeping.
Not now.
Housekeeping.
Go away.
I coming anyway?
So unfortunately, no emails, voicemails, or anything like that this week, but I did want to reference again the donation that I received from Chesapeake because I did get an email about that. So technically, I'm going to talk about it again. So again, a big thank you for that donation that you made, Chesapeake. If anybody else is out there, has been sitting on the fence and seeing all these people throw donations to the show, wants to jump in on that as well, no amount is too small. But you can go to instantactionpodcast.com and then check out the Support the Show tab, which is right at the top of the main page. And it'll tell you all the various ways that you can donate to the show. Obviously, Chesapeake did it via a straight-up PayPal donation, which I graciously accept from all of you. But that's going to be it for this week's show. So how can you get in touch with me or the show itself? First, visit that aforementioned website, www.instantactionpodcast.com. You can also email me at instantactionshow@gmail.com. If you do and ask a question, I will always answer it on the next week's show. You can also call me and leave me a voicemail at 347-4VM-4PS2. Those digits are 347-486-4772. And finally, please follow the show on Twitter at InstActPodcast. But in closing, if you've enjoyed the show, please leave me a review on your podcast listening avenue of choice, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere else. Also, feel free to tell your friends and outfit mates about the show. And finally, thanks for listening, and keep spamming that Join Combat, formerly known as Instant Action button. Derringer out.
Get your arms combined.